Welcome to Arrowhead Stadium in Kansas City, where they love their Chiefs. Today, two bitter AFC West rivals do battle, the Denver Broncos and the Kansas City Chiefs. Terrell Davis hoping to lead the Broncos to win #1 of the year. Gunther Cunningham of the Chiefs looking for his first victory as a head coach. Back with on a warm and muggy Sunday afternoon. Our weather conditions, it is cloudy, and it may rain a bit later. Greg Gumbel along with Phil Simms and Bonnie Bernstein down on the sidelines with us today as these two teams at 0-1, still looking for win #1 of the year. Gunther Cunningham in his home opener here for the Chiefs. And the Chiefs in the 90s are 9-0 in home openers. On the other side of the field, a man with 2 Super Bowls under his belt the last 2 seasons is Mike Shanahan. And Pete Stoyanovich getting ready to kick it away. The Denver Broncos have won the toss. And we welcome those of you joining us who have watched the Seattle-Chicago game. Seahawks beating the Bears by a score of 14-13. We are about to get underway here at sold-out Arrowhead Stadium. Number 21, Chris Watson, is deep for the Broncos. Watson on the run at the 10, 25 to about the 27-yard line where he's brought down. And the young man on whom there is a world of pressure, and in his opener on Monday night seemed to respond very well, Denver quarterback Brian Griese.
Dealt with the pressure from the Miami Dolphins defense very well last week. This week you come into Kansas City, Greg, you can already hear crowd noise makes it difficult for visiting quarterbacks because offensive linemen cannot hear you, so you got to throw under pressure and you got to be careful in your decision making.
Broncos begin from their own 28, and movement up front. Looked like number 78 Matt Lepsis might have jumped the gun.
Can't hear the quarterback here, so that's right away. Denver, the offensive line, and Brian Griese is going to understand that it's hard to communicate on the field.
Snap. False start. Offense, right guard. 5-yard penalty. Remains first down.
Our official, Tony Correnti. So it'll be still first down and 15 for the Broncos. And once again, here comes the crowd. Griese with the pitch for Terrell Davis and running room on the right side. And a pickup of about 5 on the play before being brought down by Derek Thomas. Let's take a look at the front line now in front of Brian Griese. Tackle to tackle. Tony Jones, Mark Schlereth, Tom Nalen, Dan Neal, Matt Lepsis. In the backfield along with Terrell Davis is Howard Griffith. Marcus Nash starts at 1 wide receiver along with Ed McCaffrey. And Shannon Sharp is the tight end. Nash in for an injured Rod Smith today. Davis to the left side, goes nowhere. Derek Thomas with his 2nd straight stop. Loss of a couple on the play. Let's take a look at that Kansas City defense. Up front, Eric Hicks, Chester McLaughlin, Tom Barnt, Leslie O'Neal. The linebackers, Thomas, Marcus Patton, Donnie Edwards. Chris Dishman and James Hasty are on the corners. Hard-hitting Jerome Woods and Reggie Tung at the safeties.
3rd long, the one thing Mike Shanahan did not want to get into today with Brian Griese as the quarterback.
4 wide receivers. Movement on the play. And we welcome those of you who have been watching games elsewhere. Greg Gumbel, Phil Simms, Bonnie Bernstein here in Arrowhead Stadium in Kansas City. The Broncos won the toss and have just been hit with their 2nd illegal procedure penalty.
Now, Greg, I'm making a big deal out of this crowd noise. You know why? Because it's a big deal.
What?
It is, yes, that's right. Gunther Cunningham, he wants noise because if you watch the Denver Broncos, when they break the huddle, they're going to Brian Griese and ask him what the snap count is because they can't even hear in the huddle.
Greasy has time, throws down the field, and it is incomplete, and a penalty marker is down. Marcus Nash is the intended receiver. And that's Jerome Woods putting up the argument on the far side of the field.
Illegal contact, defense number 44. 5-yard penalty, automatic, first down.
Eric Warfield is the second-year man out of Nebraska.
Eric Warfield, number 44, the Chiefs, they think this guy has a lot of potential. They want to put him in the game more so he can be more of a factor. Marcus Nash making a start for Ryan Smith today. Kind of like a quarterback. When you're going to throw the first ball to a wide receiver, let him go long. Get rid of those nerves and let him get going.
So the Broncos get themselves a first down. Their own 25. Davis trying to turn the corner and is met by half the Chiefs defense, led by Hasty and Derek Thomas. It's the third time already in this game we've called Derek Thomas's name.
Now, we talked about Denver. Of course, they would like to run the ball, because when you run the ball, you control the tempo of the game. And controlling the tempo of the game means that you're in good situations. 2nd and 5, 2nd and 6, 3rd and short, things you can work with that you have a chance of completing or getting first downs. Kansas City's defense, the linebackers must stop Terrell Davis.
On 2nd and 9, Greasy with the pass to Griffith out of the backfield, brought down at about the 30-yard line, and pick up about 3 on the play, and Jerome Woods was there to make the stop. So the Broncos look at 3rd down. And we welcome those of you who watch the Oakland Raiders beat the Minnesota Vikings 22-17. Greg Gumbel along with Phil Simms and Bonnie Bernstein. The Denver Broncos with a 3rd and 4 at their own 30-yard line. Quick pass, batted down. And a penalty marker is down on the far side of the field. And now a penalty marker flies from deep in the secondary.
The ball was tipped by the defense.
Broncos have already benefited from one defensive pass interference call.
Well, Brian Greasy's asking for a play, so that tells me he thinks it's against the Kansas City's defense.
Well, the back judge was number 82, Buddy Horton. He threw a penalty marker from way back. And a personal foul.
Illegal use of the hands to the face, defense number 24. This penalty is declined. Personal foul, unnecessary roughness, hands into the face mask, into the eyes of the defense. Defense. 15 yards, automatic, first down.
And we suspect Chris Dishman of that with Ed McCaffrey. Oh, that's not fair.
Well, I couldn't tell what he did, if he did stick his finger in there. But you shouldn't do it. You got to watch yourself. Be composed on the field. Don't get baited by another player.
Double tight end set up for the Broncos. The pitch to Davis. Far side. Hole. Another penalty marker. A pickup of 4 on the play. And Gunther Cunningham just waved his hand at the officials in, I think, a general sweep.
Well, this Denver offense, they're pretty good. Now, you've given them 2 extra chances to have 3 more plays to drive down the field. And it's hard to overcome that when you make these type of penalties.
Holding, offense, number 69. 10-yard penalty, remains first down.
That's Mark Schlereth.
Mark Schlereth, the left guard. Number 69 on your left. When you commit these kind of penalties, though, that for Kansas City, it usually leads to a score. But a holding penalty, that's tough to overcome, too, in the NFL.
That is the 5th penalty in this game so far. 1st and 20 for the Broncos. Davis isn't going anywhere. And while we have a moment, let's check in with Jim Nance in New York. All right, Jim. So the Steelers off to a 2-0 start, and so are the New England Patriots. 2nd and 20 for Greasy and the Broncos. Shannon Sharp with room to run. Out of bounds across the 45-yard line. Run out of bounds by Chris Dishman. That's an 11-yard pickup. It'll be 3rd down.
Well, the one thing they did last week, this Denver offense, they threw the ball short very well and effective. Brian Greasy, accurate on the short throws. It makes it easy on the offensive line because the quarterback can get rid of the ball.
And we welcome those of you who watched the Pittsburgh Steelers beat Baltimore 23-20. 3rd and 9 for the Denver Broncos. Quick pass, incomplete, intended for Ed McCaffrey. Chris Dishman was there for the defensive play, and the Broncos will be forced to kick.
Well, the one thing I like for the Kansas City defense today, they're going to be active. They're going to get after the young quarterback, Brian Greasy. But outside the defensive backs against the wide receivers, I think the edge goes for the Kansas City defensive backs. Maybe a little quicker and faster than the Bronco wide receivers. The Bronco wide receivers will need some help to get away from these defensive backs.
Tamarick Vanover is deep for the Chiefs. Tom Rowan. High floater. Vanover. Inside his 10, takes it at about the 7-yard line. That's where the Chiefs will go to work. Ahead along with Phil Simms, I'm Greg Gumbel. One of the things we talked about with the Kansas City Chiefs yesterday, on defense, they wanted to dictate to the Broncos. They came out pretty aggressively so far.
Very aggressive. What a surprise. Gunther Cunningham, let's be aggressive. That's what he's lived by. That's why he's the head coach of the Kansas City Chiefs. And they came out and they had a wonderful first series. They dictated play. They really overpowered Denver's offense.
And now Gerbach starts from his own 8-yard line, and the handoff for Kimball Anders straight ahead with running room. And a 7-yard pickup. Elvis Gerbach in his 7th season out of Michigan. You see his numbers. In fact, the place is rampant with Michigan quarterbacks today. Todd Collins, number 15 on the Kansas City sideline, is out of Michigan, as is the Denver Broncos quarterback Brian Greasy. 2nd and 3. Once again, straight ahead. And good for first down yardage is Kimball Anders. That's a pickup of 5. Glenn Cadrez, the tackler, the middle linebacker for the Broncos. Let's take a look at the rest of the Kansas City Chiefs on offense. The offensive line, a big one. Glenn Parker, Dave Zott, Tim Grunhard, Will Shields, and Victor Riley. Kimball Anders and Tony Richardson in the backfield. Andre Rison, Derek Alexander, the wideouts, and Tony Gonzalez is the tight end. You see the CBS first down line. How far the Chiefs have to go for first down. Pass to the near side. Alexander complete. And is hit hard from behind and brought down after a 6-yard pickup. Bill Romanowski along with Dale Carter on the tackle. Here's the way the Denver Broncos line up defensively. Tanavasa, Keith Traylor, Trevor Price, Harold Hasselbeck gets the start at defensive end in place of Alfred Williams. Mobley, Cadrez, Romanowski are the linebackers. At the corners, Ray Crockett and Dale Carter, Eric Brown and Tyrone Braxton, the safeties. Gerbach and the Chiefs on 2nd down. And close to a first down is Kimball Anders. That will be close but short, and it'll be 3rd down. And working with us on the sidelines today is the lady, Bonnie Bernstein. Bonnie.
Check that out. Isn't that impressive? I'm not Armin. You know, Phil, earlier you had alluded to the crowd noise here at Arrowhead. Unequivocally one of the loudest stadiums in the league. 80,000 strong here. Really tough for quarterbacks to hear plays coming in from the sideline. Even more difficult to audible. Brian Greasy, even though he's a rookie, he's got 2 things going for him. A, not a lot of audibles in Denver's system. B, he knows what That noise is like he played in Michigan. 105,000 fans fit into that stadium, and he said it's even louder at Ohio State, Greg.
All right, Bonnie. Meanwhile, Bam Morris comes on and bulls his way for a Kansas City first down.
Well, Kansas City, they came out running the football. The big reason is they want to run the football, and they saw what the Miami Dolphins did last week. Denver's defense, they're expecting a strong running game from Kansas City. We got to see if they can stand in there and stop it.
First and 10. And they're going to put on the ground again with Bam Morris. We talked to Gunther Cunningham about this yesterday morning, and Gunther Cunningham said, we're going to run it, period. The Chiefs were, he said, hesitant as a team last week when they ran it 17 times for 71 yards.
Well, they got behind 20-3, so that kind of throws the game plan out sometimes when you get that far behind. But today, be patient. You got to know when you're going to run the football, there's going to be a lot of these. 2nd and 10. And you got to be able to deal with that as players and the coaches. You got to stay with your game plan and keep running that football.
Both receivers to the far side. Gonzalez in motion. They're going to keep it on the ground again with Bam Morris, as Bam Morris pulls his way across the 35, almost to the 36. We call it a 4-yard pickup.
I think you said the proper word, Greg. Bulls his way, because from up here, you could hear the hitting. Bam Morris, if you'd see this guy in person, you'd go, man, he's really big. He's about 250 pounds, and I guess I'm being nice when I say 250. But the thing that really strikes you, you could see it on that play that time, is that he has these light feet, and he's able to hit people, keep his feet moving, and bounce forward and get those extra yards.
Speaking of light feet, Rashawn Sheehy is now in the backfield on 3rd and 6. Gerbach, straight drop, throws it out here to Sheehy. Sheehy shakes one tackler and can't shake anymore. Not much of a pickup on the play. It'll bring up 4th down.
That time, Andre Rising gave such a good move off the line of scrimmage. Dale Carter was covering him, fell down, and he takes off down the field, but Elvis Gerbach didn't see it. No, it's not Carter. It's Watson, number 21 on him. Look at that. And it's going to be a touchdown, but the read takes Elvis Gerbach to the running back. He throws it short, and they missed the touchdown.
Daniel Pope. Kick, Chris Watson, no fair catch, and nothing but Chiefs around him, and he's down to the 25-yard line. Eric Warfield led the charge. 40-yard punt, 1-yard return. We are scoreless at Arrowhead, and we're coming right back. Welcome back to Kansas City, where today's aerial coverage is provided by Southwest Airlines. So the Broncos take over now. First down at their own 26-yard line. Penalty marker flies. Greasy to Griffith out of the backfield, falls incomplete. And markers on both sides of the field. This offside against Kansas City.
Offside. Defense, number 92. Lined up in the neutral zone. 5-yard penalty. Repeat. First down.
That's Dan Williams. You know, it's worth making note, Phil, that we talked about the noise and how it might affect the offense. The defense practiced under heavy noise conditions. The Kansas City Chiefs, well aware that their own crowd could cause them some problems.
And I can't say we were there in practice Friday, Greg, and I did not enjoy it. It was too loud.
Out of the backfield again is Howard Griffith, and he has enough for a first down. That's good for a 7-yard pickup, and Derek Thomas there to make the tackle.
Well, that time they came back with really the exact same play they had ran before, and Howard Griffith, number 29, look at that, goes to his right, play action to the right, he comes back behind the formation. A good play. You see Denver, the Broncos, they run this a lot, and Derek Thomas, number 58. This is a tough assignment for a linebacker to go across the formation, stop, fights away across again, and cover the running back.
First down, Broncos. Greasy to throw. With time, complete. And to the far side is Marcus Nash, and there's a penalty marker down in the backfield.
There's a penalty flag down.
They're going to bring it back. You know, there's a lot of red here in Arrowhead Stadium. We've seen as much yellow as anything today.
holding. Offense, number 62. 10-yard penalty, remains first down.
That's the right guard, Dan Neal.
Well, there's a lot of emotions, Greg. When your both teams are 0-1, Dan Neal, number 62, to your right. That's Big Chester, and Chester's got the spin going, and whoa.
That is already the 4th offensive penalty against the Denver Broncos today.
I call those flops. That's just a good flop by Chester, drew the flag.
Terrell Davis dips his way to about the 30, and Donnie Edwards is there on the tackle.
2 yards on the play.
Well, this doesn't even look like the same Chiefs defense we saw last week against Chicago. The Chicago Bears coming out, running a lot of new plays, really took the aggressiveness away from the Kansas City defense. And Gunther Cunningham was telling us, Kurt Schottenheimer, he's the defensive coordinator. And what did he say somewhere in the second half? He says, hey, Kurt, find yourself, let's go. And what he was really telling him, don't be afraid to be aggressive. There's Kurt Schottenheimer. Be aggressive in your play calling of the defense. This defense is good when it attacks.
2nd and 18. Down the sideline, has his man open and overthrows him. And a penalty marker flies.
I saw the play as it went down the sideline. My first initial reaction is I don't agree with the call because the safety does not know if the wide receiver is going to catch that ball, and it's number 21, Jerome Woods. You have to run through the receiver sometimes when they raise their hands.
They also may say this pass is uncatchable, but no, that's they're going to call that a personal foul.
Personal foul, late hit.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness, defense, number 21. He was not playing the ball after the ball was overthrown. Contact in this nature results.
Let's take a look and just see if you make your decision.
Automatic first down.
Now you tell me at home, what do you think? Oh, it's not even close. Jerome Woods feels like he's beat. He's running to where the ball is going to meet the receiver, and he runs through the receiver. He saw the receiver, Marcus Nash, look up. He knows the ball is coming. He made the proper play.
We asked Jerome Woods yesterday, what's the best thing you do on the field? He said, my best thing is I hit people. Terrell Davis straight ahead for a couple.
It's not a bad thing for a defensive player to have that, is it? Hit people. He said to us, he goes, if I have a chance between a big hit and an interception, I'm going to take the big hit. And I said, do your coaches know this? Because you know an interception is pretty big stuff. You want to intercept that ball, turn it over to your offense. But Jerome Woods, in his 4th year, Ed McCaffrey, the wide receiver for the Broncos, said Jerome Woods and Reggie Chung, he thinks are the best tandem safeties in the National Football League.
Greasy, quick drop, passes, batted down. Guess who? Derek Thomas.
I like Derek Thomas as a stand-up linebacker a lot more than I like him as a defensive lineman. The one thing he can do, he's lost some weight this offseason, but look how good he is in space. Shannon Sharp makes the cut outside. He immediately comes right underneath where the football is going to be thrown.
Gunther Cunningham on the sidelines exhorting the crowd. 4 wide receivers now for the Broncos. Greasy going to come long for McCaffrey and incomplete. The Broncos will have to kick.
I'm sorry, Greg. The one thing this Denver offense is really going to miss today is the speed of Rod Smith. Because now, if you're a Kansas City defensive back, if you think you can outrun the wide receivers, you overplay them at the line of scrimmage. If you get beat, so what? I'll catch up. So they're really overplaying, doing a good job against the Denver wide receivers so far.
2.5 minutes to play here in the first quarter. Rod Smith on the sideline and street close. Vanover. Going to fair catch this one at about the 14-yard line. And that's where the Chiefs will start again after the 38 punt by Tom. First down, Kansas City. Number 40, Dale Carter in the secondary, the former Chief, and they go at him, incomplete, intended for Derek Alexander, and that's a matchup that we'll look at all day long today.
Well, they got a chance to practice it against each other so much last year, and Derek Alexander is, there's Dale Carter, number 40, an outstanding defensive back, but Derek Alexander, he's one of these quiet stars in the NFL, and Greg, we had a chance, you look at him on film from last week's game, and he was
Fast.
That's right. He is fast.
2nd and 10. Alexander in motion behind Gerbach, and it's going to be Kimball Anders. Straight ahead and brought down by Glenn Catrez, the middle linebacker, after a pickup of 3. Getting back to Derek Alexander in the opener against Chicago last week. 6 receptions for 154 yards, including an 86-yard touchdown.
And he was open a lot more than that. He could have had one of the career days ever for a National Football League wide receiver. But one of these guys, sneaky fast, getting down the field. But if you've seen so far, they're moving him around a little, so Dale Carter can't come up and jam him and stop him at the line of scrimmage so much. 3rd and 6.
Gerbach with the screen to Sheehy. And Sheehy is brought down short of first down yardage. Ma'a Tanavasa, number 98, from his defensive end position, making the tackle. And we have a Bronco down on the field. It is linebacker John Mobley.
So hard to run screens in the National Football League now because the defensive linemen chase it down from behind, just like that time.
John Mobley still on the turf. We'll check him out and see if we can get a report on him when we come back to Arrowhead right after this. Well, John Mobley has walked off the field under his own power, and on 4th down, Kansas City will kick. Number 13, Daniel Pope, 5'10", 203-pound rookie out of Alabama, as he's known in the Kansas City front office, the punting pontiff.
You've been waiting for that all day, huh? You know what? It wasn't worth it. No, I'm just kidding.
I know.
It's good stuff. Keep it coming.
Chris Watts is deep for the Broncos, number 21. Not quite the spiral Pope wanted. This one bounces across midfield and out of bounds at about the 43, maybe the 44-yard line. A few extracurricular activities back upfield. No flags down. We'll take a timeout with 1:08 to play here in the first quarter, and we're still scoreless. 68 seconds to play in the first quarter. That man, Derek Thomas, already has 4 tackles on his slate for today, and the afternoon is still young. First down, Kansas City. Best field position so far for either team today at the start of the drive. At the 44, Greasy all alone on the rollout. Pass is complete to Shannon Sharp. Loose football, and he was ruled down before the ball came loose.
Well, the one thing that happens is Kansas City defense, when they see that fake to Terrell Davis, they go sprinting towards Terrell Davis. And Denver, they've made a living last year, and you can see why it works so easily for them. Quarterback fakes, comes the other way, and the wide receiver, or this time it's the tight end, Shannon Sharp, is wide open. Contact makes him go down. Open.
Terrell Davis straight ahead. Eric Hicks there after a 2-yard stop, and that is close to a first down. And from here, Phil, my practiced eye says he has it. It is a first down. Davis 7 of 12 so far today.
Well, I guess when the referee throws his arm forward, that's what gave it away. Good job, Greg.
Oh, my. That's the end of the first quarter. Kind of like that coach over there has to get a TO, don't you think?
Yes.
Chiefs and the Broncos. Couple of high-scoring teams with nothing on the board after the end. A lot of penalty yardage so far today. As we start the second quarter, Terrell Davis, right side, doesn't get much. Chris Dishman is there to help out the tackle after a gain of 3 on the play.
You know, Greg, when you see those penalty yards, it's Marty Schottenheimer leaves. Guthrie Cunningham comes in, and you think, well, maybe this rivalry between the two teams will lose something. And as you talk to both teams, look at that, the penalty yards almost as much as total as the offense of the game, but the hatred, the dislike for each other, everything is there, and it just comes out of the players and the coaches. It's almost the first thing they bring up.
2nd and 7, Greasy, straight drop, throws far side, complete, and out of bounds to Shannon Sharp.
The pass to Shannon Sharp.
Now, the one thing I've noticed, it's only been one game in one quarter, but the one thing I have noticed about the Denver Broncos, you can see when Terrell Davis is not running it up in there and having that great success, it's harder for the quarterback to make fakes, to buy that extra time and throw those long balls down the field where people are one-on-one and wide open. We saw a lot of that last year, but so far in 5 quarters, it's not really happened for the Broncos offense.
2 tight ends set up for the Broncos on 3rd and 5. Greasy, quick drop, throws, far side, complete to McCaffrey. That's enough for a first down. 7-yard pickup for McCaffrey, who had touchdown catches of 61, 11, and 4 yards.
Well, anytime you have 3rd and 5 or less, if the Broncos send somebody in motion, you can almost bet they're going to make a quick move to the sideline and just try to pick up the first down. And look at that spiral by Brian Greasy. That's all he ever throws is perfect spirals. I've never seen anything like it. And he's very accurate on throwing short balls.
Ed McCaffrey says the easiest ball to catch. Terrell Davis can't get through the left side. Chester McLaughlin at 6'4" and 328. There to make the stop.
Well, you keep Chester McLaughlin, you keep him healthy, he will make a difference in your defense because, look at him, for one thing, he's going to eat up a lot of space, and he's going to occupy blockers, and that's going to let your linebackers who can all run, it's going to give them more freedom. And then just to add a little more to the top of it, he is a really, really good inside pass rusher from the defensive tackle position.
Cloud comes alive at 2nd and 9. Howard Griffith this time, and Griffith to the 30 and a pickup of about 2 on the play. Number 53, the middle linebacker, Marcus Patton.
Marcus Patton coming from the Washington Redskins, free agent during the offseason. Last year he felt like he played a defense that was kind of like, let's read and react. Well, this Kansas City defense, he likes it. Middle linebacker, it's react and then see what happens and try to make a tackle.
That Denver ground game, 10 carries, 17 yards. 3rd and 7. Here comes the blitz. No. Pulls up. Greasy drops the football, and there will be no gain on this play. In fact, they lose 2 as Leslie O'Neal is there for the stop.
Well, the one thing, when the Denver Broncos go to 5 wide receivers, and that time they got everybody out of the backfield, just a bad snap that time. Good try by Brian Greasy. But Kansas City, when you are not going to keep somebody back there to protect Brian Greasy, Kansas City defense is going to blitz, and they're going to hit him.
Jason Elam has missed his last 5 regular season field goal attempts. Had 1 blocked last week. This one from 50 yards out, and it is good. And a big pump of the fist by Jason Elam as he goes off the field. The Denver Broncos take a 3-0 lead. We'll be back. And Jason Elam, is he pleased about this?
Oh, man, I tell you what he's doing. He's going, whoop. He is pumped because that takes a lot of pressure off of your place kicker. He felt it. You feel the pressure. You got to make one.
Tamarick Vanover deep for the kickoff. Vanover from the 1. 20. And about the 23-yard line. David Bowens, number 52, with the tackle. 11:25 to play. In the first half, it's the Broncos by 3. We remind you, coming up on the NASDAQ halftime report, Jim Nance, Craig James, Randy Cross, Jerry Glanville get you caught up on all the scores and highlights. That's coming up on the NASDAQ halftime report. Those guys getting a little feisty in that studio.
Yeah, you know, listen, I'm going to just tell you right now, I'm mad at Craig James because they had a little film of me working out, and he said I can't throw anymore. Let me tell you, big boy, I can still throw it. I can't run. I'm not going to take a hit, but I can still throw it. Right, Greg?
I saw you.
All right.
Airing it out 15, 17 yards.
Oh, see, listen to you.
Elvis Gerbach with the handoff for Kimball Anders. And Anders bulls his way to about 25-yard line. Let's check in with Bonnie Bernstein. Bonnie?
All right, Greg, an update for you on Broncos linebacker John Mobley. In the last defensive series, he jumped over a pile, and when he landed, he went down on his right knee. Diagnosis is a sprained right knee. He's got ice on it now. He's questionable to return. With that and the back injury to Alfred Williams, certainly a tough break for the front 7 in Denver.
All right, Bonnie, and replacing Mobley at the linebacker spot, number 56, Al Wilson, the first-round draft pick out of Tennessee.
He'll be
240-pound rookie.
I'm sorry. He'll be easy to spot. He'll be jumping up and down after every tackle.
Kimball Anders with room to run out to the 30-yard line, a pickup of about 4 on the play. And the rookie Al Wilson jumping up and down after that tackle. penalty marker on the play. We're going to back this up.
Illegal formation. Offense. Number 66 lined up as the end man on the line of scrimmage. 5-yard penalty. Repeat. Second down.
That's Victor Riley. Meanwhile, let's take a look at what's going on between Bill Romanowski and Tony Gonzalez.
Right. Little head button, and Romanowski didn't like the first contact, so he threw a right hand cross to the face mask, and he's lucky that was not seen by an official.
Romanowski told us the first thing he wanted to do was get Gonzalez's attention today. There's a running play that gets absolutely nowhere. Kimball Anders with the attempt, and while we have a moment, let's go back to Jim Nance in New York. Jim?
All right, Greg and Phil, we're still waiting for the Cleveland Browns' first points of the season. That's Eddie George from a yard out. It's now 9-0 Tennessee. And, hey, Phil Simms, maybe you could quarterback the Browns. What do you think? Greg James says yes. Back to you.
Oh, now he's changed his opinion. Yeah, he wants to see me quarterback the Browns so I get killed. No, thank you. I want a quarterback like the Denver Broncos or one of those really good teams.
3rd and 13. The pass is complete to the 30-yard line, and that's short of first down yardage. Andre Rison and Ray Crockett is there to make the defensive stop, and the Chiefs will have to kick it away.
When you're going to run the football, Kansas City wants to run the football. You can't make mistakes. You can't have penalties because then it makes third down situations just impossible to pick up. You got to keep those third down situations 3rd, 7, and less to give your offense a chance.
You know, I guess I'll be the first one to know if you're going back to the playing field or not if you don't show up on one of these weekends. Pope with a high, long punt. Watson from his own 21. Dodges a couple of tackles. Penalty marker flies. And he is finally down at about the 23-yard line. Reggie Tung makes the tackle. And now let's check the flag. It's fair to say we have had a fair amount of flags in this game already.
Well, it just shows you how both teams, you feel the pressure being 0-1. You're coming into the game going, are we ever going to win?
There is no foul for legal block in the back. The block occurred from the side. First down.
Well, with that, we'll take a timeout. 10 penalties in this game already. We still have 8:58 to play in the first half.
It's Tony Richardson, number 49. Anthony Lynn, number 37, comes in and hits him. That's the flag they picked up. Pretty tough call against the Kansas City Chiefs.
So the Broncos take over first down from their own 24-yard line. They own a 3-0 lead, and Brian Greasy goes back to work. Terrell Davis has not yet made an impact in this game. Greasy with time, throws this side, great catch, Shannon Sharp. 18 yards and a Broncos first down.
Good job by Brian Greasy standing in that pocket. Leslie O'Neal pushed the offensive lineman right in his face, but Shannon Sharp, when you let this guy run into space, tough throw, not afraid to go up, make a tough catch between the defenders. You cannot let Shannon Sharp run off the line of scrimmage without somebody over him hitting him. If you do, he gets down the field too quick and he's too hard to cover.
The fake to Davis over the middle, intercepted. Jerome Woods and a penalty marker down in the backfield.
Well, Greg, you always hear me say,
offensive holding, the pass had already been thrown. Play goes as interception. First down.
Bottom line is the Chiefs get the football.
When you pressure the quarterback and you make him throw just a half a second or a little before he's ready, this time Brian Greasy feels the pressure coming. Chester McLaughlin, he knows he's going to get hit. Look at that, just a little off balance. The ball sails high. That causes the interception. That time Jerome Woods did the smart thing now. See, he gave up the hit, went for the interception. Now the Kansas City Chiefs, they haven't done much on offense, but you got to be patient. You can see what type of game this is. Don't push the issue.
Gerback to throw. Has his man and his legs bent under him. It's complete. 8-yard pickup to Derek Alexander.
Well, that was Dale Carter against Derek Alexander in the slide. Here he comes up, but watch how Dale Carter drives through the receiver, trying to cause the incompletion. Well, look at this matchup. Dale Carter following Derek Alexander, running play. Then on the pass play, gets his hands on the receiver almost every time.
Back to the ground game. Kimball Anders across midfield. And there are Gonzalez and Rolanowski going at it again.
Greg, when you talk about Dale Carter, talking about from the Kansas City players to Derek Alexander, even to the Denver Broncos coaches, the one thing he loves to do and does well, he wants to get his hands on the receiver right at the line of scrimmage. That's what kind of corner he is. He wants to bump you, try to overpower you, and then just cover you that way. Now, when he gets off the receiver, I don't think that's his strength. When we saw that completion to Derek Alexander, he was off, made it an easy completion.
Measurement for the first down is a little bit short. Speaking of Dale Carter, Derek Alexander told us yesterday, first and foremost, he's a nonstop talker out on the field.
Yeah, I heard, that's right.
And sometimes is overly aggressive. And he feels that he can make a big play if Carter gets overly aggressive.
That's right. And he said he will get one penalty too somehow today for being overly aggressive. But he gave a lot of compliments. The thing that really struck me, he says you can beat Dale Carter and you can get by him, but he's one of those players that has the speed. Once you beat him, he can still turn, run, and catch up and make the play.
A couple of tight ends on third and short. You see how far they have to go for the first down. And Richardson up. If he got it, he didn't get it by much. But he got it. So Kansas City looking to crack the scoreboard. The clock continues to move at 6:40 to play in the first half.
You know, if you're a Kansas City fan or a Kansas City coach, you got to realize this is a really good defense you're going against.
Gerback with a play fake and time to throw. This side it is. Caught by Alexander. What a terrific catch by Derek Alexander. 15 yards and a first down.
This is what this Kansas City offense, this is what they want to do. They want to run the football hard, and then on first down, play action fake, let Elvis Gerback get really deep and give him time to throw the football down the field. And this is what Derek Alexander does very well, makes moves down the field, and because he's got that, he's tall, can jump, athletic, makes a tough catch look easy.
Good job by Gerback with a defensive lineman right in his face as he released the football. Bam Morris now in the backfield. Gonzalez in motion, they give it to Morris. And Morris follows Gonzalez on the left side and moves the pile a bit. See, the Cleveland Browns have put 3 points on the board, and that franchise is officially in the scorebook.
That's a terrible thing to be an offense, go a game and get shut out, and you start thinking, oh my gosh, are we ever going to make enough plays to score a touchdown?
And Gunther Cunningham's dedication to the ground game beginning to pay dividends.
Well, that's what you got to do. We said it, you got to have patience. You got to keep pounding it up in there. And Kansas City, this offense, the strength of this offense, the interior offensive line, the center and the two guards, all veterans, all good, and that's where that play was, right up the middle.
Ray Crockett is on the ground at about the 8-yard line, and so we'll take another timeout here while the Broncos check him out and come back to Arrowhead right after this. And the whistle blows as Gerbach brings the Chiefs to the line. It is first down and goal to go from the 7-yard line. Two tight ends in Gonzalez and Lonnie Johnson. Instead, Kimball Anders straight ahead across the 5 before he is pushed back. Those great views of Arrowhead Stadium from on high being provided by Southwest Airlines. You know, once again, this offensive line of the Kansas City Chiefs has been very impressive, Phil. And, you know, during the break we were saying, you know, their defensive line has been pretty impressive today.
Up front, they're kind of overpowering the Denver Broncos so far in the game. And when you get this ball, though, Greg, when you get it inside the 10-yard line, if you could run it in the end zone, that tells you your running game is really progressing.
Anders again, right side to about the 3. Ray Crockett, who was down when we went to a commercial break, is back up and back on the field for Denver.
Because, you know, when I say that, because it's hard to fool them once you get inside the 10-yard line. Not much space to move around, and really running the football becomes who is the strongest and the most power. And if your offensive line can just move those defensive players out, and your running backs got to be committed to running hard and into defenders. 3rd and goal. Anders straight ahead and gets nothing. And lost the football, but the whistle blew. The whistle blew. Eric Brown came up to make the hit from his safety position. Well, that was a kind of a statement run by the Kansas City Chiefs. I think they were saying, we're going to be a running team, if we're going to be tough. They just line up from the 2-yard line, and they just tried to overpower it in there, and it didn't work against Denver's defense. There's Jimmy Ray, the offensive coordinator for the Chiefs. And on comes Pete Stoyanovich, who will attempt the field goal from 20 yards out. Out of the hold of the rookie Pope, it is perfect. And 2:54 remains here in the first half. We are tied at 3. Wow, maybe this will be about a 3-3 game at halftime. Would you have bought that? I could have bought that, really? Yes, because I know Denver, their offense is very good, and they always expect to score a lot of points, but the noise, Kansas City's defense, yes, I could think they could have held them down. Well, and that must be why you're being touted in some circles as a comeback quarterback. Now, who's touting that? Craig James. Oh, okay. Well, he doesn't know anything. Mike Shanahan looking over his playlist. Chiefs went 40 yards in 10 plays, capped by the Stoyanovich field goal. Well, I think, Greg, we've already kind of seen so far John Mobley being taken off the field. But we're watching and we're seeing Gunther Cunningham, the Kansas City Chiefs, trying to make the transition to what they really are. I think we always knew their defense going to be aggressive, get after you, blitz, but he wants this running game to be something everybody's going to fear in the NFL. And it's going to take time. There's going to be a lot of bad moments when you try to become a power running team in the NFL. Chris Watson, the rookie out of Eastern Illinois, is deep for the Broncos. And Watson, 5 yards deep in the end zone, bobbles it, will down it there. And they will get started from their own 20-yard line. I want to remind you, if you're like Phil and you're all over your computer, log on to the NFL and vote in the continuing series of the best NFL photos of the century. This week, the theme is leaps, only at www.nfl.com. Now, what's your handle on your computer? What do you go by? Greg. Greg, okay. it's a complicated one. Well, there's a lot of people out there named Greg, though. Sure, just let me hand it out over the air in just a second, Phil. Terrell Davis, nothing there. Sorry. Denver, before that running play, they had 11 rushes for 15 yards. And Terrell Davis, he always says, just give me a little bit of light and I'll run to it. Well, he must be confused so far today because there has been no light on that on Kansas City's defensive line. That Denver offensive line has always been thought of as efficient
that is not the biggest offensive line in the NFL. Greasy with the handoff to Davis. Davis with some running room, 25 out of bounds, close to first down yardage at the 30-yard line. Jerome Woods ran him out of bounds.
I'll tell you one of the reasons why it's so hard, especially today, to run against Kansas City's defense, because again, they feel like they don't have to spend a lot of time and players on those wide receivers.
2 minutes to play here at Arrowhead Stadium in Kansas City. Classic AFC battle between the Broncos and the Chiefs, and we're tied with 2 minutes to play. First down at the 30-yard line. Greasy hands it off straight up the middle for 3. It's Terrell Davis. And timeout is called on the field by the Broncos. And that's their first timeout of the first half. Greasy checks in with the coach, and we'll see week 1 against the Miami Dolphins, 24 of 40 for 270 yards and 3 touchdowns. He's 7 of 11 for 60 yards today, but Mike Shanahan just could not have been happier with his performance.
The one thing that would have disturbed me as a coach about Brian Greasy in week 1 was the number of hits he took. There was very few pass plays he went back and he did not hit the ground.
Greasy over the middle, complete. Shannon Sharp, midfield, across midfield. Or maybe Byron Chamberlain, my mistake, number 86. 18-yard pickup. And there's Sims and Bonnie Bernstein, Greg Gumbel on the sideline. The Chiefs players say we need some noise, and the crowd responds. We are tied at 3. Broncos just across midfield. The timeout situation there. First down. Greasy to throw. And is sacked. Number 91, Leslie O'Neal.
Leslie O'Neal, he was brought in here by the Kansas City Chiefs to be like a spot player. In other words, to play 10 or 15 snaps a game. Boy, what a good move on Matt Lepsis. Fakes outside, gives him the old hand slap, comes in, and Greasy does the smart thing, hold on to that football.
The number 8 sacker in NFL history, Leslie O'Neal, just recorded career sack number 128.
I played against Leslie O'Neal his rookie year in 1986, and I remember when the game was over going, my gosh, we must be terrible, because this rookie was just everywhere in the game. And if Gunther Cunningham was his coach at that time at San Diego, and he said if Leslie O'Neal, that year he ended up blowing his knee out late in the year, if he wouldn't have got hurt, he thinks he might have been one of the greatest pass rushers this league has ever seen. And when I saw that rookie year, it's hard to disagree with that.
Did he get you a few times?
Oh, it's not the sacks, it's when you throw it and the hits afterwards, because he could really run when he was younger.
4 wide receivers for the Broncos, who are now out of timeouts. Greasy, slant in, incomplete, intended for Andre Cooper, number 81.
Well, if I was the Denver Broncos, I would just somehow call a play and just throw one down the field, because this Kansas City defense is up on the receivers. And watch Brian Greasy. You can see when you do not have a back in the backfield, Kansas City is going to send an extra guy to make that quarterback throw the football quickly.
Chris Dishman, number 26, there to make that play. And now the fans are on their feet. Penalty marker flies. This one will not count. Let's see if the crowd
Prior to
knows.
the snap, false start. Offense, 78.
That's Matt Lepsis
5-yard
again.
penalty remains.
Well, when you get beat by a pass rusher, if you're an offensive lineman, you're looking for an edge, and you want to get up maybe a little quicker than you're supposed to. And it's not the crowd noise, because they're going on a silent snap count, and Brian Greasy's in the shotgun formation.
That's the 3rd false start called against the Broncos today.
See, I think this crowd, it was getting a little quiet. They found their second wind, and they're getting back into it, making noise.
And you know what they're saying back in Denver, don't you?
What are they saying?
Just wait till those Chiefs get here.
Right. Well, if you can look at the sideline of the Kansas City Chiefs, the coaches the players, they're all urging the crowd to get up and make noise in these passing situations. What I was going to say, Greg, while they discuss whatever is going on here, that the noise is a huge factor. It really bothers teams. It bothers your concentration.
It's correct at 133, third down.
And there's so few plays in a football game anyway. If you have 4 or 5 of them messed up because of crowd noise, it just lessens your chances of making those good plays.
Here comes the crowd. Greasy hands it off. Davis across the 40, close to the 45-yard line before Marcus Patton makes the stop. And now Kansas City calls a timeout to stop the clock at 1:25.
Well, I tell you, I came out here this week to Kansas City and I was going, oh boy, how are we going to approach this game? And I don't know. I was just wondering, how can Kansas City find it to have enough to compete against the Denver Broncos? And after talking to the Chiefs, hanging around a while, I became a little more convinced that they've got this thing in order and they know how they're going to play this football season, and especially today's game.
Of course, all you do is sit and listen to Gunther Cunningham for 10 minutes, and you're convinced that he'll take everybody on in the league.
Well, Dad, but I'll tell you what, I noticed a big difference in Gunther Cunningham this week compared to a few weeks ago in the preseason. He has a much better idea of what he wants to do and how to approach his players and get that across to them to play it in the games.
Tamarick Vanover is deep, and Tom Ruin will get the kick away from about his own 35. And now here's a penalty marker.
Too much movement, line of scrimmage, Byron Chamberlain. I think it might be Al Wilson.
Prior to the snap, false start. Number 56.
That is Al Wilson.
5-yard penalty remains, 4th down.
Byron Chamberlain heard you and went over and said, "It's not me, is it?"
Well, I saw a 6, so I just guessed.
Down the road in confirmation, Tamarick Vanover deep.
Vanover at about his own 20. Ruin. Low punt. This will be returned. Vanover from the 20, 25, and knocked down at about the 28-yard line.
Tamarick Vanover on the return.
42-yard punt and 8-yard return. And here comes Elvis Gerbach, who has 1:14 to work with before halftime.
Now, I'll tell you what your number one goal here is. If you're Elvis Gerbach, the quarterback, be careful. This game has been physical. It hasn't been a great offensive showing by the Kansas City Chiefs, but don't try to be a hero in this situation. Be careful. Take no chances and see if one of your players can just make a play to get you in position before you let it open.
Rashawn Sheehy, the only back, and 4 wide receivers as Gerbach straight back over the middle, almost intercepted by Bill Romanowski.
The pass is incomplete. It's intended for Rashawn Sheehy. Coverage by Bill Romanowski.
Nothing would have displeased the crowd more.
Oh, boy. I mean, they're waiting for Elvis Gerbach to make a mistake to really get after him, and I think he knows that. So, but I liked his attitude yesterday talking to him. He said, I'm just going to go out there, not worry about things and play. But
it was really interesting. He said he's beginning to accept all the negatives that come with being a quarterback. Straight back, throws, wobbles over the middle, and it is bobbled around and caught by a Chief. Tony Gonzalez was there to grab the bouncing ball, 21-yard pickup and first down.
all right, sometimes you need a break in this league. And Elvis Gerbach, he got one that time. His arm was hit as he was throwing it down the field. Watch Elvis Gerbach, the quarterback. His right arm gets hit. The ball floats up in the air. Oh, and Eric Brown right into the chest, bobbles it.
What a good job by Tony Gonzalez.
Watch this hit Eric Brown. Boom. Tyrone Braxton gets his hands on it.
Wobble, 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 wobble. Eric Brown will remember that one in his dreams tonight.
Well, Eric Brown wanted to catch it and run. Neil Smith, number 90, he's the defender that came in and hit Elvis Gerbach's arm.
And the Chiefs have used their second timeout and now come up to the line of scrimmage, their own 49. First down, 1 minute to play.
Here comes the blitz.
This side, complete, out of bounds to Alexander. Pickup of 8 on the play, 57 seconds on the clock.
Well, that was really well done. Elvis Gerback thought the blitz was coming. It was a good fake by the Denver defense. He checks off to a play, saves time, throws it to the receiver so he can catch it and get out of bounds.
Second and 2. Gerback spins away from trouble. Looking, throws it away. And that stops the clock with 49 seconds. Trevor Price, number 93, almost had a hand on him in the middle.
It always looks impressive, doesn't it, when the quarterback spins and reverses field? Never did that. Just knew better. One, I probably wasn't capable of doing it, but I just was always, I'd be worried you make that spin move and some defensive lineman's going to run you over.
Third and 2. Gerback has time, flips it over the middle. Sheehy, 40, trying to reach the sideline, doesn't get there. He has a first down, and now the Chiefs use their last timeout to stop the clock with 38 seconds to play.
Well, that was a nice play. Gerback knowing where Rashawn Sheehy is and looking for him because nobody was open down the field. But what a catch by number 22. Ball's thrown before he even looks. And the Kansas City Chief coaching staff, they like this guy, what he can do on offense, especially in passing situations. Get the ball to him in open space, he will make people missing.
Phil, you remember that game we did at the Meadowlands last year when the New York Giants handed Denver its first loss of the season? That was the only regular season game last year in which the Broncos failed to score a touchdown in the first half. They don't have one here yet. So now both teams out of timeouts, 38 seconds on the clock. First down, Kansas City. Gerback, complete, and wrestled to the ground by Ivory Crockett is Kevin Lockett.
All right, just take your time. What you're trying to do is just get yourself in field goal position.
And Gerback kills the clock with 23 seconds to go.
So you got 23 seconds to go, no timeouts. You're the offense. You can do anything here you want. You can throw it in the middle of the field. You can let them tackle you, whatever. It's still time for the field goal unit to get on the field and get a chance to add points to the score.
Would you like to see a couple of shots at the end zone?
No. It sounds good, doesn't it? But no, right now it's going to be a 50-yard field goal. I would really be concerned with picking up some positive yards and making that attempt a little closer.
Gerback to Gonzalez. Gonzalez down at the 25-yard line. Clock moving, 15 seconds to play.
Now I would have killed the clock with the offensive unit before I ran this one on.
They're going to line up for the field goal from 42 yards out. 3 seconds, 2 seconds, 1 second. Snap is off, kick is away, and it's good. Well, there's a fire drill that worked. The rookie.
And they got to come up with some ways to buy more time for the quarterback to throw the football down the field to make the Kansas City defense soften up a little.
The Kansas City Chiefs will receive to start the second half kickoff here. When we go back to that, I called it a fire drill. It was every bit that ended the first half with Pete Stoyanovich kicking that field goal from 42 yards out.
Well, managing the clock is so important in the NFL because so many games are close. Why didn't they just go up there, spike the ball, let the field goal unit have plenty of time to come out there and sit up? But who cares? They made it anyway.
Tamarik Ben over deep for Jason Elam's kick, and this is a low line drive, and it's picked off at about the 25-yard line and returned across the 35 by Ty Parton. Not exactly your ideal return man.
7 yards on the return.
But he'll be telling everybody about it back in the locker room.
Oh, he looked agile. He looked quick. Did you see me, everybody? I should have been a fullback. And
6'5", 290-pound Ty Barton in his 5th year out of Arizona. And Elvis Gerback goes back to work. Kansas City at their own 37-yard line. Tony Richardson, Kimball Anders in the backfield for the Chiefs. Back to the ground game. Anders with a hole across the 40 to about the 41 or 42-yard line. Tyrone Braxton with the tackle, and let's check in with Bonnie Bernstein.
Tyrone Braxton made the tackle.
Right, now the microphone's on. Gunther Cunningham said one of the things he worked on so much this week in practice was the 2-minute drill. He said it worked masterfully at the very end of the first half. Of course, they scored that field goal. As far as the run, he said, yeah, we softened them up. Now we just have to get the air game going. Greg?
All right, Bonnie. On 2nd and 6, they'll keep it on the ground. And Anders to the right side to about the 43-yard line, a pickup of 2, and Trevor Price with the stop.
you remember yesterday, or I was talking to Elvis Gerback, when we were talking about the offense. What's the ideal offense for Kansas City? Run it, play action every once in a while on first down. But if you're going to do those things, if you want to be a running football team, here's the situation you have to be terrific at. And that's 3rd and 7 or less. This time it's 3rd and 4. You've got to pick up a lot of these to keep drives going.
Rashawn Sheehy in the backfield now on 3rd down. That's Alexander in motion. The pitch to Sheehy coming this way. Trying to find a block and doesn't find one at all as Bill Romanowski smothers that play for a loss and has a few words for Sheehy.
Well, Romanowski has words for anybody. If you walk in front of him, he's going to say something. But this time, Romanowski coming from the middle, he just sees the play, the pitch, nobody there to really block him. What happens is he diagnoses the play so fast and reacts to it. Offensive linemen don't have a chance to get up the field to block him.
Here's the rookie Pope kicking to Chris Watson. Watson on the run at the 25, lost to Kendall and then covered it up. So 35-yard punt, no return, and the Broncos will have first down from their own 26. Brian Greasy will bring the offense onto the field when we come back.
Is this your favorite because you're a regular guy and you got lots of...
No, just because I like to say ladies.
Oh,
man.
you say it well.
That's all. So Brian Greasy will try to get something started here in the second half. And after being so productive on Monday night, this is kind of more of what you expect from a young quarterback in the offense.
Well, it's not really him. It's just the whole offense. The offensive line getting dominated. They need for Terrell Davis to be a big factor to open up the passing game.
Greasy with the pass, complete to McCaffrey, and he's banged out of bounds, but that pass was right on the money. Jerome Woods, what a surprise, applying the lick.
Well, first off, what a throw. I thought it was going to be intercepted at first. Brian Greasy just throws it between the defender who's covering short and the safety who's deep. Look at that, just gets over, and Jerome Woods just puts a tough lick on Eddie McCaffrey. Now, see, that's the Eddie McCaffrey that I know. The receiver who takes a lot of big hits, and we were making a little fun with him last night about that.
First down, Greasy throws, complete. That's Shannon Sharp. And a pickup of 4 on the play. You know, Shannon Sharp, we were talking again with the Chiefs, who say that he just loves to be a non-stop talker out there. You know, just because he has stopped talking to the media doesn't mean that Shannon has stopped talking.
Well, he likes to mess with everybody. That's right. What did he tell us last year? He says, I'm going to talk to you, and if you don't talk back, I'll leave you alone. So, but if you talk back, then you're going to lose the battle.
Terrell Davis across midfield, lost the football, and the Chiefs have it. Terrell Davis does not give up the football often. Chris Dishman walking off the field with the ball.
Terrell Davis coming through for probably the first time all day. He's had enough room to really get up in there. But, boy, that's just a big hit by Donnie Edwards, the linebacker, number 59, that jars the ball loose. Well, this is why you be patient when a game like this in the Kansas City Chiefs, because your defense, you've got to think somewhere along the line they're going to make that big play to give you a chance to score.
Gerback, play action, going to go deep. for Kansas City.
A little hook and go. This time you know Elvis Gerback is going to throw it out to Derek Alexander. They got this play open last week. They didn't get it to him, but watch this. The quick move, Dale Carter has to stop, and then Derek Alexander has that speed to go from a stopping to a full speed quickly, and Elvis Gerback, terrific throw by him.
First and goal from the 6-yard line. Bam Morris in the backfield. They give it to the first back through, and that's Tony Richardson.
Greg, that last play, that long throw and catch we saw by Derek Alexander, that's one reason why I would not play off of him too often. If I was a defensive coach or Dale Carter, the defensive back, because we've seen in the few games that we've watched the Kansas City Chiefs, if you let this guy run untouched down the field, he has a lot of moves and he can shake loose and get big plays for you.
And that big pass play right after a turnover is so reminiscent of John Elway of the Denver Broncos. Second and goal from the 5. Bam Morris, right side, down to about the 1. Al Wilson, the rookie out of Tennessee, there for the tackle for the Broncos.
Well, Bam Morris, that's when you want a big running back. When you get inside the 10-yard line, when the yards are tough, and where the running back has got to make it happen for himself most of the time. That time, there was nowhere really to go. He bounces outside, and he just runs over people because he's 250 pounds.
Kimball Anders and Tony Richardson now line up behind Gerback on 3rd and goal. Kimball Anders, and didn't get to the goal line. And Gunther Cunningham has a decision to make.
But see, why did you take Bam Morris out of the game? That's where I would have kept him in. Just give it to the guy who can create leverage and make the pile move forward. Every time he's been into that, I've been really impressed with the style of running and what he's done when he's been hit. He's getting positive yards after he's been hit.
Well, Bam Morris is still on the sidelines as we look at 4th and goal for the Chiefs. Gerback to Richardson. Richardson bounces off a tackler and into the end zone for the touchdown. Second effort got the touchdown for Tony Richardson. It's the first touchdown of the day.
Stopped by the defensive line, but a good job by Tony Richardson keeping moving. And yes, Coach, that's what you want. They're playing exactly the style of football that you envision.
For the extra point, Stojanovic is perfect. And there's a penalty marker down. And this is against the Chiefs. Stojanovic will have to kick it from a bit further away.
You know, Greg, as I think of that drive they just had, what
Holding,
makes...
offense, number 55, 10-yard penalty, replay the down try.
Make the extra point a little harder.
That penalty is on Ron George.
But it made me think about Derek Alexander when we were talking to him the other day. When you're a good player like he is, he's starting to experience some of the rewards, and that is when they call pass plays to go down the field, they design them for you, and it gives you more opportunities to make those plays, and the more of them you make, they'll put a few extras in next week for you too.
Derek Alexander said, hey, there are some extras that have been put there for me. Stojanovic is good. So the Chiefs extend their lead to 13-3. Elvis Gerback says to Tony Richardson, way to put it into the end zone. Thanks to a big pass play, Elvis Gerback to Derek Alexander. That was a 5-play, 55-yard drive in 2 minutes and 45 seconds, capped off by the touchdown run for Tony Richardson. And it's a 13-3 lead for the Kansas City Chiefs. 9:16 to play in the 3rd quarter. Stojanovic the kick. Chris Watson is deep. Watson on the run at the 11. 25. And run out of bounds at about the 30-yard line by Reggie Tung. We'll pause for another timeout with 9:07 to play in the third quarter, and the Broncos with a bit of a mountain to climb.
After a week, Bonnie Bernstein back here with you at Arrowhead Stadium, where the Chiefs hold a 13-3 lead over the Broncos. As if Brian Griese doesn't have enough problems being a rookie playing his first game on the road, look at Gunther Cunningham's record against first and second-year quarterbacks. How about 7-0, folks? 7-0, and only one has thrown more than 200 yards. It just happens to be Todd Collins, who's now a Kansas City backup. He passed for nearly 300 yards as a Bill starter back in '97, but Buffalo still lost that game to the Chiefs. Greg?
All right, Bonnie, thanks. Terrell Davis with that carry.
You know, there's a couple reasons for that. Young quarterbacks usually don't play for really good teams, but also maybe the other big reason, the biggest reason, Gunther Cunningham believes a young quarterback just keep pressuring them, make the mistakes that will cost their team the game.
Kansas City crowd making some noise again. Griese hit from behind, loose football. Derek Thomas in on the quarterback, and the Chiefs have it.
You think crowd noise is not a factor in football games? Derek Thomas, he is a terrific pass rusher up top, but he uses that crowd noise to get that little jump on Tony Jones, the left tackle, and he is around him before Tony Jones can even get a hand on him. Look how quick he got off the football. And sometimes when Derek Thomas is wide like that, he looks underneath the center. The quarterback hands, when they move, he takes off.
Third Broncos turnover today. Kimball Andrews, right side. Inside the 25-yard line, a pickup of about 3. Glenn Cadrez is there. Another big problem for the Denver Broncos. They got not one big play on defense against the Miami Dolphins. Bill Romanowski said, we didn't get a fumble recovery, we didn't get an interception, we didn't make a big play on defense, and so far they haven't done that today either.
Hard to make the big plays when you're behind or even in games. Sometimes, or most of the time, big plays because you get the other team in known situations. They haven't done that this year so far.
Gerback with time and now throws, and it's complete across the 25-yard line to Tony Richardson. That's going to be about a 2-yard loss on the play, and it'll be third down. You know, Mike Shanahan watching Elvis Gerback work here today. Gerback was tutored by Shanahan when both of them were with the San Francisco 49ers.
Well, somewhere along the line, Denver's defense, they're going to have to make the decision. We're going to have to start gambling to keep the Kansas City Chiefs from scoring more points, because you get too far behind here, we've already seen you're not going to stage a big comeback against the Kansas City Chiefs defense.
3rd and 7. Gerback. Penalty marker flies. Gerback on the run and runs it out of bounds. Number 93, Trevor Price, is in the Kansas City backfield saying it's against them, and he's right.
Well, that would put them back to the 36-yard line. What do? Do you drive the offense back, give them one more play, or do you try to make them kick a field goal from 44 yards?
Offense, number 65. The penalty has been declined. 4th down.
Number 65 is Jeff Smith. And that's exactly what Mike Shanahan is thinking. Make them kick the field goal. Well, now Bill Romanowski is saying, no, push him back. And I think if the decision has been made.
I saw Mike Shanahan on the sideline waving it off, telling them decline it.
And so here comes Pete Stoyanovich. Stoyanovich kicked a 42-yarder as time expired in the first half. And now the play clock winding down to 2. And now has been restarted at 25. Stoyanovich will kick this one from 45 yards out. He's made them from 20 and from 42. The place down, the kick, it is good. usage, and the Chiefs add to their lead. Gumbel, Phil Simms, Bonnie Bernstein, and an excellent CBS Sports crew here at Arrowhead Stadium. The Chiefs with a 16-3 lead. The Chiefs have scored 13 points off 3 Denver turnovers. The kick to Chris Watson at the goal line. 15-20. Brought down short of the 25-yard line by Greg Mineski. And once again, let's check in with Jim Nance at the NFL Today in New York. Jim.
Greg and Phil, the Cleveland Browns, the new Browns, have their first touchdown. Tim Couch to Donovan McNabb's teammate at Syracuse. Kevin Johnson covers 39 yards. They miss on a 2-point try. They're down 10 at Tennessee. Back to Greg and Phil.
All right, Jim. That was a rather accurate pass, wasn't it?
I would say so.
Good for him.
Well, the Denver offense, we've seen what I've noticed in the first 2 games, Greg, and we talked about a little, just not enough opportunities to make big plays. In this league against good defenses, it's hard to string together 10, 12-yard or 10 and 12 play drives. You need that 20 and 30, 40-yarder in there somewhere to give you a chance to score.
Boy, talk about some unusual happenings for the Denver Broncos. Terrell Davis fumbled that football coming in. He had carried 400. Well, take a look at him. 19 carries, 61 yards, and today 16 carries for 44. But that fumble, he said it was unusual. He had fumbled twice in 411 carries.
Now he does have a wrist that's been hurting him, and there's been some speculation. We did not get it from the Broncos that his shoulder is bothering him, one that he hurt last year. I haven't seen any of those effects in the game. I've never seen him flinch. I don't see problems. What I see is just not enough opportunities for a running back to get free.
Guess who?
Snap, false start. Offense, number 78.
Matt Lepsis has had a real tough day out there at right tackle this afternoon.
Well, Mike Shanahan told us, if you haven't played here before and you don't realize what's going on, the noise, and how to deal with it, it's hard. And Matt Lepsis, he didn't start for this Denver team last year, so this is his first chance to get in there and experience it, and you got to learn.
13 penalties handed out here so far this afternoon. 2nd and 13, Greasy. Quick pass complete across the 30 to the 32-yard line, Ed McCaffrey.
Well, Eddie McCaffrey took that hard hit earlier from Jerome Woods and missed a few plays, but he's back in, and this is something he does very well. Boy, he sells it to the outside, comes underneath, and goes down and makes the catch.
See, the first 4 years, 103 catches, and the last 4, 196, and has tripled the touchdown output.
He has made himself a top-flight NFL receiver through just lots of hard work.
3rd and 3. Greasy lost the football. It's picked up and carried forward by Terrell Davis. No gain, and the Broncos will have to kick it away.
See, when you just can't come out there and run the football like they usually do, it takes away so many plays out of your offense. The misdirection passes that we see all the time from Denver, the long passes down the field, and now the center has a hard time getting the ball up to Brian Greasy. Another fumble snap.
Tom Ruin will kick it away. His 4th punt of the afternoon. Tamarik Van over deep for the Chiefs. This one off the right side of his foot, gets a decent bounce though. Vanover picks it up across the 35 to about the 37-yard line. That's where the Chiefs will go to work with 3:41 to play in the 3rd. It's a safe bet that this crowd will only get louder. We have a penalty marker down, and it's against the Chiefs. But
well,
the music was nice, wasn't it, Phil?
Yeah, it did sound good. I like it. Fires me up to hear that music. It happened after the kick, so it's still going to remain Kansas City's ball. Well, I tell you, Greg, we're talking about the Denver offense next week.
Holding receiving team during the kick, number 81. By rule, the penalty must be assessed from the end of the kick. 10 yards, first down.
The penalty is on Kevin Lockett. You were saying?
I was just going to say, next week they face Tampa Bay's defense, which is pretty good, too.
And we'll be there. A timeout. 16-3. Chief veteran Dave Zott, the left guard, is out of the game with a sprained knee, and his return today is questionable. Jeff Smith has replaced him in the lineup. First down, Kansas City, and they go back to the ground game. Lose football. And the Chiefs have recovered. Tim Grunhard, number 61, has fallen on the ball.
Boy, I tell you what, you want to know why it's hard to run the football in the NFL? This is one of the reasons. The Denver Broncos expect him to run on first down. It was either Tyrone Braxton or Eric Brown. I couldn't see. They come in and they deliver a hit to the running back. It was so hard that caused the fumble.
It all ended up as a 3-yard gain, and it's 2nd and 7. Gerbach, play fake, throws over the middle. Andre Rison across the 35 to about the 38-yard line. If I'm not mistaken, that's his first reception of the day. 15 yards and a first down.
You remember yesterday we asked Elvis Gerbach what would be the ideal offense for you, and he says, let's stick with that running game, and then I just want to do play action passes and throw when necessary. That's the type of offense I want. And what it does, here's part of it. Andre Rison running down into the open space of the zone, wide open, easy throw for Elvis Gerbach.
Well, here's something new, Phil. I was mistaken. That's his second catch of the day. Back to the ground. Bam Morris. You know, there's a bit of a collision when Bam has a hold of the football.
Well, it just kind of brings on when he hands the ball. You hand it to Bam Morris, you just know there's going to be some big collisions, because if there's nobody there, he'll find them. You know, got to seek out the trouble.
And Bill Romanowski in on the stop as well. Take a look at Greg Robinson on the sideline.
Greg Robinson, probably one of the things that, well, I know the thing that disappointed Denver and the Denver defense last week was they let Miami run the football on them.
2nd and 9. Gerbach has the ball batted out of his hands. And there's a turnover, the first of the game by the Kansas City Chiefs. Trevor Price, the man with the football.
I think it could be ruled a fumble because it looked like it hit his arm before he could get it moving forward.
And Gerbach is hurting.
Well, watch Elvis Gerbach as he goes back. No, Neil Smith gets around, beats Victor Riley, and yes, that's a really dangerous position when the quarterback has his arm moving forward. Watch his arm as it moves forward and it gets hit. Puts a lot of stress on the elbow and the shoulder. And he immediately grabs his elbow.
With this football team, the Kansas City Chiefs was rolling at the start of the season last year until Elvis Gerbach got hurt with the bad collarbone. And things went downhill from there. And now Elvis is on his back at the 30-yard line.
All right, let's look one more time and see as he moves his arm forward. It's hit as the ball is back. He never got it moving forward. And you can see, just think about it. Take your arm and try to move it forward, and somebody grab your wrist and stop it. That is a lot of stress on the elbow. Now I see him grabbing his shoulder.
And Elvis is no small guy out there either. Officially listed at 6'5", 237.
Well, Gunther Cunningham said to him when he was hired as head coach, he called Elvis Gerbach and said, "You're my quarterback. I'm going to make it succeed or fail with you as my quarterback." And also he told him, he says, "Look, the one thing you got to learn to do is drop back and what? Throw that ball. Don't let them hit you." And it sounds simple, but if you're a starting quarterback in the National Football League, it is a tremendous responsibility you have to protect yourself to help your team. You know, you got to stay in there week in and week out for that continuity to be successful.
If you're wondering who it is who backs up Elvis Gerbach on the Kansas City Chiefs, number 1 Warren Moon, number 15 Todd Collins, as you take another look at the injury to Elvis Gerbach.
Now he's got to feel Neil Smith coming to him, or feels him to the right side. I don't think he realized how close he was.
Elvis walks off the field flexing his arm. And I'm sure Elvis will want to throw on the sidelines before he gets back into the game. Meanwhile, the Broncos benefit from their first turnover of the game. Terrell Davis, left side, running room. Inside the 30 to about the 27. Marcus Patton with the tackle after a 7-yard gain.
Now that's the first time this year I've seen a play that the Broncos made famous last year. Pitch it to Terrell Davis. You think he's going to go wide. He squares those shoulders up, and then he kind of cuts back against the grain, and he got up the field quick that time. Watch him. He's going to go a little left. Watch how he squares up. Just a slight cutback as the defense thinks it's going to be a sweep to the outside.
2nd and 4. Davis again. This time dips to the outside. First down, yardage, and more. Just out of bounds, shy of the goal line. Reggie Tongue met him down at about the 3.
Isn't it unbelievable what can happen with a turnover in football? You turn it over. Denver, hey, they got hope now. There's hope. Terrell Davis, oh, he still can do it. They give it to him, and then you give it to him again like this, and watch what happens. Good blocking up front. Kansas City's defensive line is on the back, moving backward this time. Terrell Davis gets it outside, and what a blow. He hits Reggie Tongue full speed.
Terrell Davis, 34 yards in the first half, and 42 yards here in the second. 3 tight ends. Terrell Davis straight ahead to the 1.
Right here, I got it.
And you know, go back to what Bill Romanowski said. We didn't get an interception or a fumble recovery last week. We need a big play on defense. That's their first one this season. Romanowski watching, and he will watch his teammates change ends of the field as we come down to the end of the 3rd quarter. The Chiefs in control, the Broncos threatening. That's the end of the 3rd quarter. The Chiefs 16, the Broncos 3. Will come back, has been throwing on the sidelines, but with every throw there is a visible grimace. Meanwhile, the Broncos. The give to Terrell Davis into the end zone for a touchdown. So Denver begins the 4th quarter with a touchdown run by Terrell Davis.
Denver, about the only way they were going to get back into this game is with the turnover. The defense came up big. They created it. That time, Terrell Davis, offensive line, did a good job. Gave him plenty of room to run for the touchdown.
Jason Elam with the extra point. And the Broncos are right back in this game. Terrell Davis with the handoff. Low center of gravity. Tough to hit when you're that low to the ground. Back at Arrowhead Stadium in Kansas City. Capacity crowd as usual today, 78,683. Each of these teams looking for its first win of the season. Elam kicks to Tamarick Vanover. Vanover from the 5. 15, 20, 30. Almost to the 35-yard line before he is brought down. And Elvis Gerback back onto the field. Let's check in with Bonnie Bernstein. Bonnie.
All right, Greg, you see Elvis Gerback trotting back onto the field. Like you, I kept seeing him grab his elbow when he was throwing on the sidelines, but the official word is that it's a right shoulder contusion, and of course he's cleared to play. Greg?
Understand now why I didn't make it through med school. From the 34. Kimball Anders. Anders almost to the 40-yard line, a pickup of about 5 on the play. Now, let me ask you this, Phil Simms.
Ask me.
With this dedication that the Chiefs have to the ground game, have they not become a little predictable on first down?
No, well, listen, that long pass to Derek Alexander was a first down play action. They've had a couple of good ones today, and Jimmy Ray, like Greg, I've said many times, if you're a running team, it means you got to run a lot of times on first down.
Gerback, another handoff straight ahead. This one across the 40 to the 42. That's Anders again for 3. I know you have said this over and over, that a team that can run the football will wear down the resolve of the defense.
Well, they do. When you run the football successfully in the NFL, what does that say? That means you are physically winning the war. And teams that win the physical battles almost always win on the scoreboard because you have situations you can control, just like this one. 3rd and 2.5 yards, you have a good chance of picking that up.
Bam Morris in the lineup. The fake is to Morris. Gerback running for his life and is sacked. And a penalty marker is down in the secondary.
The Chiefs were going to go for the home run and try to score with the bomb that time to Joe Horn.
Joe Horn was applauding the flag.
Illegal contact, defense number 40. 5-yard penalty, automatic, first down.
That's the ex-Chief, Dale Carter.
Look to the outside. He's grabbing hold. It's past 5 yards. And Joe Horn looks like he has Dale Carter beat there. There was not a safety deep. Well, that's what they talked about, that Dale Carter would have one big penalty against him, and that was a big, well, that was crucial.
That would have wiped out an 18-yard loss due to the sack. Bam Morris, left side. And across midfield and into Kansas City, or into Denver territory. A gain of 6 on the play.
Regardless of what the statistics say, when this game is over, if you ask me, what about the Kansas City running game? And I would say it was very effective. It's proved its point. It's given Elvis Gerback time to drop back and throw the ball down the field, and it's picked up some tough yardage, and there was a good sign. Bam Morris using his size and the speed he has for a big man to pick up 7 yards on first down.
Now 2nd and 4. On the ground again. Into about the 45-yard line, and a pickup of 2 on the place is Bam Morris. Glenn Tedrez at the tackle.
The one thing I would say about Kansas City, I think on third downs, they definitely got to be more creative. I brought that up to the coaches, to Elvis Gerback, Jimmy Ray, the offensive coordinator. Again, because you're going to see a lot of these. You got to have a lot of packages, a lot of movement, a lot of ways to pick up those third and short yardage situations.
On 3rd and 2. Sheehy diving and has first down yardage. They needed 2. Sheehy got about 2.5.
Well, spread the defense out. Rashawn Sheehy, they like him. He's what they call, hey, he's a nice change of pace. He's a lot smaller than Bam Morris, and he's a lot quicker. And this time he picks up the 2 yards because of his quickness.
So first down for the Kansas City Chiefs now. At the 43-yard line of the Denver Broncos. Anders and Richardson in the backfield behind Gerback. Anders. And there's some hard hitting going on along the trenches. Give him about 2 close to the 40-yard line. Al Wilson, the rookie, with the tackle. Gerback yet to throw a pass since he's returned to the game after the injury to his shoulder.
I'm anxious to see it because knee warmer to the sideline, he was taking what I would call a gather step, stepping forward and throwing. It looked okay, but he was definitely not putting any torque on that arm and throwing it with any velocity at all.
2nd and 8. Elvis is going to throw it here. Over the middle, has his man, Derek Alexander. Alexander fighting off Carter all the way to the 10-yard line. We knew Derek Alexander was quick. He may have surprised us with some strength there.
Well, everything. First off, look at the catch. Here he comes across the middle. It's behind him. And look how quick he can adjust and get running forward. That's what really impresses me about Derek Alexander. Elvis Gerback, you should be excited. It's nice to have a guy you can throw the ball to, and he can take a simple play and make it into a special play.
Bam Morris tries the left side, moving the pile forward to the 5-yard line. Into the 4.
Well, I guess when I came out here this weekend, I thought maybe the rivalry was going to die between these two. And well, I'm wrong a lot of times, but you could see it. Bam Morris proving a point, just driving into defender Eric Brown. His helmet just comes flying off, and the determination of just the whole Chiefs offense keeps the pile moving.
Second down from the 4. Straight ahead, touchdown. Bam Morris. Looks a little bit like what you thought they should have done their last trip into the red zone.
Well, that was really impressive. The whole drive, they had one good break, the pass interference call against Dale Carter, but just overpowering Chiefs offense against the Denver defense.
Stoyanovic's kick is good. If you're a Chiefs fan, you're looking for your team to answer the touchdown by the Denver Broncos and the Kansas City. Welcome back to Arrowhead Stadium. Our aerial coverage being provided by Southwest Airlines. A little perspective here.
That's a lot of red down there, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
If you hate red, don't come in this stadium.
Chris Watson deep for the kick. This one is short. Watson on the run for 15, 25, 30, and out to about the 34-yard line. Reggie Tung, number 25, in on the tackle, and we'll take a timeout. Still plenty of time, but Derek Alexander having a heck of a day. Other half of the Denver Broncos quarterback controversy. Bubby Brister has come into the game with 9:17 to play here in the fourth quarter. Mike Shanahan named Brister his starter in training camp and then shifted to Brian Griese. He throws to Terrell Davis out of the backfield, shakes a tackler, out of bounds across the 40-yard line. Pickup of 7 on the play. Brian Griese on the day, 11 of 16, 107 yards, 1 interception. He was sacked twice today.
He played fine. They're not taking Brian Griese out because he didn't play well today. They're taking him out because you're down 13 points with 9 minutes to go. You need to make it happen. And Bubby Brister, this is perfect for him because he has the ability to make things happen on the football field from the quarterback position.
Davis nowhere to run there. Pickup of maybe a yard. Derek Thomas with another big stop for the Chiefs.
Greg, we talked to Mike Shanahan last night. I asked him the same question about his quarterbacks. He says, I will not hesitate to bring in Bubby Brister because it's not going to be a statement against Brian Griese. It's just that he does this so well.
Brister on the keeper. He's not going to get there. '91 Leslie O'Neal at the bottom of the pile.
Well, I think they'll go for it. 4th and 1.
You see the CBS first down line just short of the 45-yard line.
Yeah, it's actually turned into almost 2 yards.
And the Chiefs fans are on their feet. Brister going to throw for it and going to throw long, and it is incomplete. And now a penalty marker is thrown as Ed McCaffrey hit the turf. Chris Dishman was the man covering over there.
Boy, how about that call? 4th and 2.
Illegal contact. Defense, number 26. 5-yard penalty. Automatic first down.
Let's see what happened.
4th and 2, and the Broncos are going for the big play. They're going to let Ed McCaffrey. Here he is outside against Chris Dishman. Going to fake, and then he's going long. And wow. That defender has the right to hold his ground and stay there. Chris Dishman did not move. In fact, he had to put his hands out in front of him to protect himself.
You would have to say Ed McCaffrey initiated the contact. It's a first down for the Broncos at their own 49. Brister to throw. Complete over the middle. Howard Griffith, 3-yard pickup.
This defense for Kansas City today has been so disciplined. So many times over the years I've come here, they do so many things well, but some people overreact, some of the defensive players, and they give up big lanes and big plays. Today, most of them, almost every play, they're staying in position, making the plays when they have the chance to do it.
4 times the Broncos have gotten a first down via the penalty route. Brister to Terrell Davis. Sidestep 2-tackler across the 40 to about the 38-yard line of the Kansas City Chiefs. 9-yard pickup. Hasty and Woods with the tackle. And here in the second half, beginning about halfway through the third quarter, you see Hasty down on the ground. It appears that Terrell Davis has found a second wind.
Well, he's got those feet moving again, and look at that. Catch the ball, and Bubby Brister, I'm very impressed. He's come in, not forcing the issue, throwing short passes, because that's what Kansas City is saying they're going to make you do.
Well, on that last replay, I think you could see that James Hasty was hit by teammate Donnie Edwards rolling down underneath. We'll take a timeout and check on him when we come back. Phil Simms, Bonnie Bernstein at Arrowhead Stadium, and James Hasty is still on the turf. And let's take another look. If I'm not mistaken, I think it was Donnie Edwards who rolled into him as he made the tackle. Oh, he had another tackler coming, another teammate coming over the top. And that was Jerome Woods.
Celebrating here in Nashville. 8:17 remaining. 26-9. George gets the carry. Jameer Miller made the stop. And it's a night of premieres, beginning with The King of Queens on CBS Monday, starring Kevin James and Jerry Stiller. Then the series premiere of Ladies Man, starring Alfred Molina and Sharon Lawrence, followed by the...
And so many of them come down to 1 or 2 calls in a game or 1 or 2 plays that everything is it's just of the utmost importance. And you could sit here and I could think of 3 or 4 plays in this game that have determined the factor why Kansas City's up 23-10.
Meanwhile, as they continue to work on James Hasty on the field, let's check in with Jim Nantz in New York.
You got to feel good when he's your backup quarterback. He's played a lot of years in the league. He's had success, been to the Super Bowl, and you know your team's not going to lose much when he comes in.
James Hasty helps the sidelines. He's replaced on the field by Eric Warfield. There's a look at Terrell Davis. We talked about maybe him getting it into gear here in the second half. In the first half, he was 13 of 34 rushing, had no receptions. In the second half, 9 for 45 running the football and a touchdown, and 2 catches for 18 yards. 6:40 to play in regulation. Brister to throw. Now flipped out of the backfield, Howard Griffith. Griffith inside the 35 to about the 32-yard line. Donnie Edwards out there to make the stop after a 5-yard pickup.
What Kansas City's doing on defense, they're just not taking any chances. I said earlier, look at this. They're going to double the wide receivers. They're going to make Denver and Bubby Brister keep throwing the ball short, throw, catch it, make the runs, keep getting first downs to score the touchdown. And if they do, what they're trying to do too is eat that clock up. They've 3 minutes so far just on this drive.
Brister throwing. McCaffrey intercepted by Warfield. Warfield back to the 10, and another turnover by the Broncos. And a mix-up back here at the 40-yard line.
Well, I just bragged about Bubby Brister. He's been patient, taking what the defense gives him, and this time he tries to force the issue. He gets a little impatient. Watch Ed McCaffrey. Eric Warfield has him. Now, Eric Warfield's not really that worried because he knows he has deep help. He turns around, makes the play. And you're a quarterback and you throw an interception, you better protect yourself because these defensive linemen, they want a piece of you. And linebackers. And watch Tony Jones. I like that. Offensive linemen, come in and protect your quarterback.
4th Denver turnover of the afternoon. First down, Kansas City at the Chiefs' 11-yard line. And Kimball Anders straight ahead for a couple.
See, the Chiefs, really a good strategy, what they were doing that last drive. All you got to do is make one little mistake, and that cost you the scoring drive. Denver didn't show the patience. They try to force it, and when you do that in this league, the players are just too good. They're going to take advantage of you.
A little perspective. If the Broncos lose, Over the last 30 years, they have begun a season 0-2 once, and that was back in 1994. They began 0-4. They finished 7-9.
Well, when you stay at something long enough, finally you get...
And Ray Crockett with a few words exchanged with some of the Kansas City assistants on the sideline after the play. On the ground with Bam Morris. Clock continues to run towards 4 minutes to play. Kimball Anders and Bam Morris doing the job on the ground. For those of you expecting to see 60 Minutes, you're watching the NFL on CBS, the game between Denver and Kansas City. I'm Greg Gumbel, along with Phil Simms and Bonnie Bernstein. The Chiefs lead the Broncos 23-10, 3:50 to play. 60 Minutes will be seen in its entirety immediately following this game, except on the West Coast and Mountain Time Zones. Once again, Kimball Anders breaks free. A 38-yard run just a few moments ago, and Eric Brown brings him down after another first down run.
Well, what happens? The interception, now the defense, they probably know they can't win the game. You start gambling on defense, and look what happens. No matter how good you are, when you gamble on defense, somebody gets out of position, and look at that. Kimball Anders, he sees it. Over pursuit by the Denver defense, cuts it back. Another big game running the football.
First down from the 19. The back falls down. Gerback and a slide down at about the 20-yard line. Kimball Anders is now in agony back at the 25-yard line. Anders today has registered his first career 100-yard game. 22 carries, 141 yards, and now he's writhing in pain down on the field.
Well, let's look at Kimball Anders and see if we can tell what happens. He slips and falls, grabs his foot.
Just strangely reminiscent of 1 week ago at the Meadowlands, Phil.
Oh, I wasn't going to bring it up because that's what it looked like. Immediately when he fell down, he grabbed the back of his left ankle. Maybe it's just a, well, hopefully it's just cramps.
Or a sprain. But we see him pounding the turf much the same way Vinny Testaverde of the Jets did 1 week ago. We'll be back. Arrowhead Stadium quiet for the moment as Kimball Anders has been helped to the bench, having had a superb game. Back to the action, and Bam Morris tries the left side. Glenn Cadrez is there for the stop. Let's go back to the play on which Anders hurt himself.
Well, let's watch. Watch his left foot. He does not slip. Here he is in the backfield. Watch his left foot. Counter step. Oh, and you can see he gives away. Now, the reason why he gives away, I don't know. Is it a cramp? Did he pull something? But
well, they will continue to work on him, and we will get a report from the field as soon as one is available. Meanwhile, tonight on 60 Minutes, 23-10 Kansas City in the lead, and you look at the total yards and you say, well, yeah, that would explain it.
Well, that is really a shock, is the fact that Denver's high-powered offense, I think we just take for granted they're going to get yards and score points. Kansas City over the years, they've struggled offensively, especially against Denver.
On 3rd and 8, Rashawn Sheehy, big hole up the middle to the 10-yard line. And that's close to a first down. And we're going to measure. Denver Broncos have an 11-game winning streak in the AFC West on the line here today.
And again, Greg, we said it earlier, it doesn't look good this game, but next week they go down to Tampa Bay. And the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, that defense, if I'm correct, has not given up a touchdown this year. They haven't given up much of anything. The Giants got all their points because of defensive turnovers.
The Bucs beat the Eagles today,
19-5, I think. I think the big question here is,
the big question.
Well, what does Kansas City do? Do you go for it on 4th down to give yourself a 16-point lead?
And Gunther sends Elvis in. Although Pete Stoyanovich is 3 for 3 in the field goal department today. Players shuttling in and out, but the fact of the matter is that the Chiefs are going to go for it. And now they want a timeout. And he's not getting it.
Well, that's not good. You know, when you're the head coach, they won't listen to you. That's just not right. So, I don't know.
Well, they come up to the line. 4th and 1. Gerback. Long count. Sheehy in motion. And he doesn't get the Broncos to jump, and then he calls timeout.
Well, they wanted to try first to see if we can draw him off sides, but he's going to send in the field goal unit. I like what they did, though. They sent the tight end in motion. That didn't work. Send another guy in motion. I think this is the proper call. You kick the field goal and give yourself a 2 touchdowns and two-point conversions. That would be your lead, 16 points. See how quick I came up with that? 2 times 6 is 12. 2 times 2 is 4. At 16 and anything. Okay,
I have my shoe off.
Yeah, we noticed up here.
So on 4th and 1, Pete Stoyanovich will line up the field goal from about the 18-yard line and make it a 28-yard field goal attempt. He has converted from 20, 42, and 44 yards. This officially a 27-yarder, and it's good. So the Chiefs extend their lead now to 26-10 with 2:14 to play. Jerseys and more, plus the shipping is free. Just click on NFL at cbs.sportsline.com. Well, Brian Greasy started at quarterback for the Denver Broncos, and his is a tough road to travel, replacing the great John Elway this season. He was 11 of 16 for 170 yards, but didn't move the team to Mike Shanahan's satisfaction, and on came Bubby Brister in the 4th quarter.
Well, you would think, even though you're a young quarterback, you get to take over for the defending Super Bowl champions now. That's some good stuff. That's the way to come into this league. But you start in a Monday night game, it's tough, have to come to Kansas City, going to start out 0-2, and now it's really going to get rough.
Boy, if there's a downside to this day for Gunther Cunningham and the Chiefs, seeing Kimball Anders taken off on the cart.
Today we saw what this offense wanted to do. A little Kimball Anders. Give him some Big Bam Morris. Every once in a while, bring in Rashawn Sheehy. You give him a little bit of everything, and it's tough to defense. And if you lose Kimball Anders, you're going to have to go back and draw up some new plays and think it over again.
Stoyanovich kick to Chris Watson. Watson from the 3. 25 to the 28 or the 29-yard line. We remind you once again, 60 minutes will follow once we wind down here at Arrowhead Stadium, except on the West Coast. Bubby Brister returns to the field. What has hurt the Broncos most today, 4 turnovers.
And turnovers, you say, well, if they don't turn it over, they got a chance to win. But turnovers come for a lot of reasons, and mainly they come from the fact that you can't control that line of scrimmage, and now you got to throw it when you don't want to. Now you get in situations the quarterback holds it longer than he wants to, and that's most of the time what creates turnovers.
Bubby Brister rolls, throws, has it complete to Derek Lavelle. You saw Terrell Davis on the sideline, Derek Lavelle in the ballgame. In place of him, we take time out for the 2-minute warning at 1:59 remaining. Well, Mike Shanahan paces the sidelines and definitely back to the drawing board to correct some problems. One problem is the injury to Rod Smith, because as we said at the top of the day, Phil, it leaves them without a genuine speed receiver on the outside.
Well, that's the one thing we've noticed, Greg, and we always talk about in this league. You've got to have impact players who can take normal plays and make them into big scoring plays.
Brister throws far side. Shannon Sharp complete, first down and out of bounds at the 41-yard line. 7-yard pickup on the play.
And just to kind of say it one more time, that is probably the biggest thing, is you see Elvis Gerback taking that shoulder out that he hurt, getting hit while he was throwing, and he feels good now, but that shoulder is going to be really sore tomorrow.
Pass over the middle is complete. And over midfield is Detron Smith for a pickup of 10 and close to another first down. It is a first down. There is a timeout on the field. 1:44 remaining here in the fourth. And let's check in again with Jim Nance. Jim?
Greg, the 49ers were 7 down to the Saints with 5 minutes to go. Then they hooked up with Terrell Owens to tie it at 21. Then Billy Joe Hobart made the mistake of the day here for the Saints. He's picked off by Lance Schulters. He's the man who stepped in for Merton Hanks. And he'll run it back for the 49ers as San Francisco rebounds from the loss to Jacksonville to beat the Saints today 28-21. Let's go back to Greg and Phil.
Okay, Jim, I don't think you want to be within shouting distance of Mike Ditka after that, do you?
Wow. Well, the 49ers, they're resilient. Hard to beat. New Orleans, they're overcome a lot. You can try to go out there and beat the 49ers at their home park.
Once again, we are waiting for an official word on Kimball Anders, who was taken off the field with an injury to his left foot. Terrific day for Anders today. Brister on the run, throws, it is incomplete, intended for Ed McCaffrey.
Greg, what I was
stops the clock with 1:38. I'm sorry.
No, I'm sorry. What I was going to say, though, I think the Denver Broncos, of course, they want Terrell Davis to have a bigger impact in games, and they'll work on the running game. But what they really have to decide what they're going to do, they've got to be more aggressive in the passing department. They've got to find ways to get the ball up the field. And really, the easiest way to do that is run the football first. That does it for you, but you can't always count on that Terrell Davis is going to have a terrific day running the football.
Brister throws, incomplete. Marcus Nash and a penalty marker. Number 21, Jerome Woods, was on this side of the field.
Well, Eric Warfield, number 44, he was just a little too aggressive.
Illegal contact, defense number 26. 5-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Well, 26 is Chris Dishman.
Well, I'm going blind, I guess, because I'm looking right at it. But don't answer that, Greg.
Well,
here's Eric Warfield, number 44. And the ball is thrown there. Well, was I right or wrong?
Well, you know, the official makes these calls, Phil.
Well, 20.
Penalty is on Warfield. The give is to Detron Smith, coming this way, weaving his way across the 40 and close to the 35-yard line.
You know what I like, though, is how you come rushing to my defense. You know, you just leave me hanging there. I remember it.
Clock continues to move now with 75 seconds remaining here in the fourth quarter. Boy, if you look to heroes on the Chiefs side of the football, there are several to look at. Pass over the middle once again and complete to about the 32-yard line. But you certainly do start with Derek Alexander. What a day he had catching the football.
6 for 117, off to a wonderful start last week. It just continues. The confidence grows. The coach has designed more plays for you. You're on your way to becoming a star.
Brister going to go for McCaffrey down the sideline and overthrew him.
Greg, Derek Alexander would be the guy that they ran the football. I kind of took for granted the Chiefs defense would come in here today and really play inspired and play well because of the talent and the crowd noise and being at home and all those things. Running the football, that was a big surprise.
Well, we all
188 yards to this point.
We all remember these two teams in the meeting last year, and Derek Thomas and the rest of the defense really losing control. Gunther Cunningham told us earlier this year he was embarrassed and he was ashamed that it wasn't going to happen. Derek Thomas has been one of the stars of this defense today. Brister Brister going to go down the sideline again. It is incomplete. Chris Doring was the man out there.
But I was going to tell you, when you run the football with success, which Kansas City did, you got to take advantage of it. You got to have a person who can really put it over the top, and that's what Derek Alexander did. And that's why it's so important. You create those opportunities down the field by running it. He's able to get down there and catch that ball and make the plays for you.
And another offensive weapon discovered here today and perhaps lost pending a medical report is Kimball Anders. Carried 22 times for 141 yards before leaving the field on a cart with an injury to his foot. Brister throws, that is incomplete. And a penalty marker again. We haven't seen enough of those today. We'd like to get a few more in these final 30 seconds.
Well, just because the game is a 16-point difference, pass interference or holding, it's pass interference.
Defense, number 26. Automatic. First down.
Boy, this is a big win for Gunther Cunningham. What he does, all the work he did during the offseason, all the work during the preseason, everything they believed in, now what they do, it really gets the players' attention. The players believe in what he's going to tell them.
Brister throws, and that's an incomplete pass intended for Marcus Nash. We remind you once again, except in the Pacific and Mountain time zones, CBS follows once this winds down.
Isn't it funny, Greg, yesterday when we got done talking to him, what did we all say when we walked out of the meeting, we came out and says, boy, he's just a different coach than he was a couple of weeks ago. He's really got a handle on what's going to happen, and he's understanding. He's getting all, maybe one of the big reasons is he's getting his coaches to really understand what he wants on the field, and they're relaying it to the players.
Kansas City about to go 10-0 in home openers in the 90s. Brister on the run, throws, McCaffrey has it. Inside the 20, inside the 15, and that's enough for a first down.
Well, you either got to spike the ball or you got to run a play, and they're going to run one last play.
The crowd continues to count it down. Brister going to throw it up into the end zone. It is incomplete, and no penalty marker. And time expired.